How many of you are watching the Olympics on television? It's pretty amazing to see what human beings can do. I mean, every year it becomes more and more extraordinary, the kind of feats that they pull off, you know, with the snowboards and skis and the ice skating is amazing. It's unfortunate they had that trouble this year, but anyway, the problem I have with watching the Olympics, though, is it makes you feel so inadequate. You know, you go stumbling down the street. Is there anybody here from another Unity today? Anybody here for the first time? Raise your hand high. We got a gift for you. Come on down. We got a couple of people down there. Yeah, hands up. It's a bag of marijuana. Don't smoke it all at the break. Hey. Anyway, it's nice to have you with us. We're a beautifully diversified community, so invite anybody you see that you know to come and share what we share here, which is the experience of the presence of God in every person, in every place, in every condition. You are going to really enjoy this talk being given by Syntysche.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Boulder, those of you who are joining us in person and those of us who are joining you online. We love having you here either way. It's very nice that the mask mandate has been lifted, but if you still feel more comfortable wearing a mask, that's absolutely fine. We still invite you to come on in. But yes, it's very nice to see all of your faces for the first time in I don't know how long. So I've got a few quick announcements here. We're actually starting to bring back and have more events here now that we're a little bit more open. We have Dr. Charles Cropley starting Friday, March 4th, and March 5th. He is a naturopathic healer who has healed many people around here. Some of them you may know. Please check your handout. There's too much information about this event for me to stand on stage and talk to you for 20 minutes about it. But there is an attachment on your handout that the ushers gave you today, so please check that out and about every other announcement I have today. Starting in March, starting March 1st, March 14th, we are going to have a men's and a women's book group starting. There are going to be two separate groups, a men's and a women's. The women's will be facilitated by Syntysche and Deb King, and the men's will be facilitated by Steve Hayes, who's run a few classes for us before. So if you want more information about that, please check out your handouts for that, and those will be in-person classes, and they run for 5 weeks. So please sign up for that. You can ask us about that in the bookstore following the service. And we also finally have brought back our grief group. It's a grief counseling session for if you're ever going through something and need someone to come and chat with. It's going to meet March 1st from 6 to 7:30. It is in person. It'll be facilitated by Sandy Spahn, who's been a longtime prayer partner of ours, and a good friend of ours, Sarah Novotny. That's just a drop-in group, so please let us know if you're interested in that. And that's going to meet on the first of every month, or the first Tuesday of every month, right here in this building downstairs. So please check that out if you'd like to come chat with someone and share your grief. So, all right, now I'd like to welcome our special music. Our special music today, as many of you will recognize, Joel Plimmer, who's usually standing over here with a bass guitar. He is going to be playing some music he wrote for us. He's going to be accompanied by our other good friend, Marcy Baruch. Welcome back. So take it away, Joel.
1, 2. There we go. Thank you. This song is called Wake Up Call, and I wrote it in the heart of when the pandemic first started. But it's more just of a universal song, and I'm so glad Marcy could join me here. Thank you. Features her voice, so let's do it.
Sometimes it takes something to unite us, a common foe to guide us to a brighter day. Like a beautiful miracle, we can all make it all magical. If we all really want to change, it's gonna be okay. From Canada to Panama, there's people crying. From tenements to mansions, we're all the same. From Hollywood to Bollywood to the New York Islands, together we can find a better way. And could this be a wake-up call for us to come together, one and all? And when we're living in the power of love, there's nothing that we can't rise above. Sometimes it takes something to believe in, when the world that we're seeing is all upside down. A kaleidoscope of common folk needing hope, trying to cope in our homes. But we know that we are not alone. We're gonna turn this thing around. From Uruguay to Santa Fe, there's people trying in their tenements and mansions to get through the day. But from India to Africa, there's a silver lining, and it's shining down on us today. Yeah, could this be a wake-up call for us to come together, one and all? And when we're living in the power of love, there's nothing that we can't rise above. Yeah. Come together, one and all. Could this be a wake-up call for us to come together, one and all? And when we're living in the power of love, there's nothing that we can't rise above. Call for us to come together, one and all. And when we're living in the power of love, there's nothing that we can't rise above. Could this be a wake-up call for us to come together, one and all?
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all here. It's such a beautiful day. You never know. Sometimes on these beautiful days, you're all like, I'll just go be with God in nature. You know, we have such an awesome opportunity where we live just to be outdoors and enjoy the beauty, the sunshine, and the sunrise today was just magnificent. So today I'm starting a new talk series. I took a little break last Sunday just to grab some reprieve after doing a 4-week series, and in the midst of it, so much going on behind the scenes here and holding a space. I had to take a day to myself, and I thought, what am I going to do with this Sunday? Because, you know, when you're a minister, you sacrifice Sundays for your whole life. It's a really wild thing to give up a day of your weekend. And then I've had memorials every Saturday, so I haven't had any weekends either, you know, performing those. I've done 5 in 4 weeks because now people are feeling more comfortable to come together. So people that passed through COVID, now they're doing the celebrations of life for folks. So I've been visiting with a lot of people that have been in loss and grief. And so I titled this talk series, Awakening Beyond the Senses. An assured way to stay above the noise of these times and dwell in the reverence and peace of a spiritual life. Do you believe that we can live in a reverence of joy and peace regardless of what's going on in the world right now? You know, it's really, my last series we were just talking about, there's a choice. We have choices still, but we're kind of feeling like we've lost our choices as far as the speed of life and keeping up and being able to pay our bills without having 2 or 3 jobs or answering a million phone calls, and just the distractions that keep us from that reverence of peace. Recognizing that that's still available and that our good is not behind us, that it's still in the midst of us. It's just asking us to be much more aware of what we're stepping into each day, how we're holding our practice as far as meditation, prayer in the morning, walking in nature, doing the things that start our day connected with this greater power, this greater love we call God, Spirit, Source, whatever word makes you feel loved, before we face our work, our children, you know, all of the different things that, you know, speed up the day, and can we maintain that peace that we found first thing in the morning? When you believe and you live in a state that peace is possible, then you will attract more opportunities for peace in your interactions with friends, bosses, parents, all the above. And you'll notice that you will have a visceral experience and feeling when the unseen realms move in without notice. Once you stay in that practice and you believe in this peace and you are saying, being, thinking peace, a visceral experience and feeling when the unseen realms move in without notice. And for once, you don't have to understand the how or what or why about anything. You simply get to relax into the bliss of letting go and knowing all is still well, because that which made you, loves you, protects you, and guides you is in the driver's seat of your life, finally. Do you believe that's possible? Yeah. How many people feel like they're living in that state right now? You can put your hands up if you feel like it. I'm just using this example. I'm not necessarily saying I'm living in that state. I have 2 teenagers at home, so I have an excuse. I have moments, I have days here and there that I live there, and then I spend all the rest of the days trying to get back to that day where I was in bliss and peace. So my goal for this series is that after the 4 weeks, if you haven't already experienced, I want you to have actually experienced the touch, the physical touch of Spirit, like a visceral experience. I want you to have at least heard the whisper of Spirit in your ears. I want you to have experienced the hum when you connect with this greater something. It's a sound of Spirit. I want you to viscerally see the color of Spirit. I want the ethereal realm to become present in your everyday life, where you become like a child again. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see what today is going to bring. What magical interaction am I going to have? Instead of every once in a while going, I think that might have been an intuitive hit, or Spirit was trying to get me, but then we're like, no, it probably was just a coincidence. We talk ourselves out of these little moments that we felt such insyncness or synchronicity in something, and in the moment we feel our heart open, but then the intellect will take us out of it. No, it was probably just, whatever we come up with. So this topic is one of my favorites, and why I was called to the work as a minister, called to mirror the beauty of this universe and the honorable way it fastens itself in our lives. This last Friday was my son Luca's 17th birthday, the day that I birthed him into living and held him for hours until I birthed him back into spirit. The day that everything stopped and changed the course of my life. And I speak to that experience a lot because I was raised in a Unity household. I was raised being homeschooled and meditating before every day. I lived this in my childhood upbringing, and yet I never had that visceral experience of Spirit sweeping in and grabbing hold of my life like it did when a child of mine that I loved with no pretests or anything, that anything was wrong. The child was perfect, and then the child wasn't perfect. There was no intuition, there was no dream, there was no nothing. I was about to give birth to my son, and then everything changed the moment he was born. And I have a new perspective on it, visiting it this last time. This last year I lost one of my best friends to cancer and lost 5 other really special people to me in this center. There's been a lot of loss this year, and I realize that as we go through these depths of loss and grief and change, which all of us are in a grief. We're in so much change, we're all experiencing grief as far as what we're seeing in the world and what's going on. But what we don't realize is what's changing within us, what's growing within us as these things are falling away that we've been attached to. That in the midst of this seeming turmoil, and we might call it bad or we may call it good, but either way, if we're living a spiritual life, something is innately awakening and moving through the fire of these losses as we're breaking open more and more and more to a greater expression of what the soul's work is to do here and be here. And the more intense stuff we go through, the more we probably came here to be great advocates and way showers of Spirit's love and compassion for this world and for this planet. So on the eve of my son's birthday on Thursday, I pulled the pictures of him out, which I haven't done in over 5 years, because before, when I'd look at the pictures, I would always see the struggle in my son's eyes as he was clinging to life in his body. And the look on my face as I was attached to a particular outcome and would always break down into tears as if it just happened. It's not funny, it's weird how grief, you can learn how to live with it and learn how to walk through life with it. But when you take a chance to actually be with it, there's a cell memory that lives in you as if it happened yesterday. I mean, really, so you don't go there. You learn to live with it, but you don't go there. And I was willing to go there, witnessing myself and what I looked like going through it. And it is really how grief works, how it stores itself somewhere in your cells. And when you visit it, although your days get easier and more bearable through the years, there are moments where you feel you can't bear it even 10 and 17 years later. But the other day when I visited the pictures, I had a different experience. I didn't meet the experience from my pain body. I merely observed from a higher state of consciousness. I looked at myself with deep compassion of all I didn't understand yet. I looked at my boy and saw features in his face that resembled my other children that I never were able to see before. I saw a calm in him that I was never able to recognize before as well. And the words that came to my mind's eye while I was sitting looking at the pictures was, I am so blessed. And that's when I started crying. I am so blessed that I got to experience this kind of love, this kind of transformational experience that literally stopped my life in its tracks, took me off of the direction I was going, and there was no way to fill it. There was nothing I could do. If you've ever lost anybody, and if you lost children, or you lost a spouse, you notice that when you're in that moment, when they pass, you might be in a hospital, you might be in your house, but you look outside and the world's still going and people are riding their bikes and you just can't believe that the world is still going and your life just ended. Temporarily, but it has. I am so blessed because of what he taught me about resilience, about the compassion of this spiritual life and this divine direction that happens when we go through a crisis or maybe a karmic thing that I chose to go through to grow my soul. It was the first time I heard the hum, the sound of God, the sound of spirit. Like many chords, like a harp that was like the sewing of the strings together by ethereal birds, flying in and through everything that is oneness. The pieces of the fabric of life coming together that makes us all a part of everything, and the haunting and holy color of amber enveloping my being. As I wept for the loss and not knowing it at the time, the knowledge and warmth that would awaken in me of a universe that holds and supports and grieves and lifts and sings and beats, and the totality of what we are and where we came from, and our soul emerges more and more through our body, mind, and spirit, aligning us with our Maker here and now. That experience was so palpable, so present, so aware of every thought, deed, and action of mine. And I am no longer weeping, but am entranced with the moment the veil was pulled back for me to see into what we are all here for. I'm so grateful for this journey, the ups and the downs of it, the heartbreaks, the unknown, the known, the enlivening nature of spirit when we let go and trust the flow, the current of life, and watch its majesty and reverence unfold before me. I wrote this that night after I looked at the pictures. That's what I am so grateful for. That's why I feel so blessed. Because with all changes in life, the difficult stuff, which we're all going through a change in this world right now, and they say we're moving towards the golden age, but in order for us to undo consciousness and selfishness and greed and the things that have gotten us to this point, there has to be a breaking away. There has to be a breaking down. And for us all to get to this higher 5D frequency, that which will heal and see from an ego point of view, to heal a planet for the 7 generations ahead to have a place to live, we're all kind of in a breakdown somewhere. And I have hope because I've been in a breakdown for the last year and some change due to loss and people that I was attached to having on this planet with me on my journey. And as they were falling away, my root system was growing with spirit. For me to be able to look upon something that I used to not be able to look at and know everything is in divine order, regardless how it looks on the outside. Because divine order comes from within. And then it outpictures without. And then it collects with everyone else. And then it's a ripple of all that vibration moving in and through the consciousness of everything. And that's where the golden age appears. So a visceral response is a physical reaction to a non-physical experience, an emotion. It could be the product of a live experience, something playing out in front of your eyes. Point is, it's guttural and uncontrollable, an innate cue that you're feeling an extreme emotion from something that's not tangible. That's what this series is about. So I'm going to be sharing stories of people's moments where they literally felt God. They heard the voice. They heard the song. They got the urge. They felt that moment when they finally got out of the human experience and operated from the part of us that never dies, which is the soul. The part of us that's lived so many lifetimes and has so much knowledge, and so much of that lives in our subconscious. All that learning and all the mistakes. And we can just tap into that by meditating. And also recognizing by saying, I believe this is true. I've had these experiences that she's talking about. But holding out that you're ready to have it every day, a couple times a day, and be blown away by how much Spirit's always trying to get in touch with us. But we're in tunnel vision. Most of us look at the ground and walk everything tunnel vision. We don't look around like children and get in the world and look at the birds and recognize the deer that cross and how many deer cross, and let's look at the numerology of those deer, and let's figure out why that bird just swooped in front of me, and then this little groundhog appeared, and why? Because the whole universe is always telling us a story about ourselves and where we need to be and what we are being called to do. But we're like those horses with those blinders on so they don't get distracted, so they'll pull the people around Central Park and not play with other horses. So I wanted to share this slide that I found. Whenever you hear or read anything of a spiritual nature that moves you or touches your soul, you're not learning something, you are remembering what you have always known. It is a gentle awakening. Whenever you hear or read anything of a spiritual nature that moves you or touches your soul, you're not learning something, you're remembering. You're remembering. And Wayne Dyer says it this way: I have become aware that there is something bigger moving the pieces around, even when we think we are making the choices. I have become aware that there is something bigger moving the pieces around, even when we think we are making the choices. You see, we are not our body. We are not merely our soul, our spirit. Even in this now body, you've had many bodies. You came in a newborn around 6 to 8 pounds. Then you were a 5-year-old body and a 10-year-old. You have been 20, and some of us 30, 50, 70. But all of those bodies are different. And even your body today will be different when you leave here. But one thing that is a constant is your soul. Your spirit that has had so many bodies, but not just this lifetime, over countless lifetimes. So we look to this physical constant much too often when we have memories of all the bodies that are stored in a subconscious place within us. That every once in a while we get nibbles of a sense of knowing from something we never had learned from a book, a life lesson this lifetime. And we tend to know it is something from somewhere we can't identify, but we know it's something because we usually start to cry. There is a sense that we are home, that home we're all seeking, that relief that we're all seeking, that peace that surpasses understanding that we're seeking. We tend to cry because we remember what home is. And it's a beautiful cry. It's the tears when you feel like you have been touched by Spirit. So I've been walking with a friend of mine who lives out in Lyons, and this person's had 5 NDEs, which they call near-death experiences. This person, unfortunately, has had a serious illness with asthma this lifetime. And he talks a lot about that point where it was flatlined, and he experienced this almost wordless, there's no words for it, but this feeling of oneness and being a part of everyone. Everything. There's no regrets, there's no nothing, there's no leaving here with any need to say goodbye to anyone. You're so complete, you're so ready, you're so okay, but then he'd have to come back because he'd be saved and, physically saved, and have to come back to the turbulence of life. And so many NDE people that have had those experiences talk about how much they're going, no, I don't want to, it's a lot. Life is a lot. There's a lot of heartbreak in life. There's a lot of difficulty in life. And here I just feel unconditional love for everything. For everything that ever happened, everything that is, everything that's alive, everything that God created. I am the energy of that love. So whenever he talks about this topic, I'm reminded of my experience with my son, because it's the only thing that I can relate with, for as far as seeing the other side and the veil being pulled back for me to see. After a few days after I birthed my son into spirit, I was sleeping in a depression sleep, and I woke up and I sat up and I saw my grandmother at the end of the bed, and she'd passed probably about 4 or 5 years before that, my dad's mother, and she was standing at the end of the bed, and she was summoning for me to come over to her. And I was so happy to see her, because she was just she was a woman that had hugs that would just hold you forever. You just lay in. She's a big woman, so she just had all that love to lay in her arms, and it was all there, and she just had all this compassion and love for me. And there was no words, but it was just her seeing me. And the message was, you're going to be okay. I'm here. You're going to be okay. So I'm standing with her at the end of the bed, and I look back and I see that I'm still sleeping in the bed. And she walks me around the bed and brings me to the other side, and here's this chubby 6-month-old child with his legs excited to see me, which was just all you want after you've lost a baby. You just want to touch the baby. And he's so excited and he's so beautiful, and I go to kiss him, and I felt his cheeks and I felt everything. And then the next thing I know, she's walking out of the bedroom, and my hallway outside my bedroom turned into a tunnel with light all around it. And it led into my daughter's room at the time, and it just went forever. And there were beings on the edge of this tunnel the whole way, and all I could hear was Syntysche, 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 with that harpsichord sound going. And she started walking into the tunnel, and she turned around, and this is the only time she said anything. She said, "You stay here." And she walked in the tunnel, and I woke up. I have chills all over my body right now. Hold on a second. She's stoked I'm telling this story. I can feel it. And when I woke up, I hysterically cried from my soul in a way that was in the grief and the loss of my child, and I know I was just with my grandmother. I know I was just with her. And I know that I just saw what happens at the end, because I felt the love. I felt the completeness. I felt okay in that moment. All the grief, everything was gone, but then when I came back, it was, oh, life is heavy. And all of us there, but that vision was the grace I needed to start going back into my life and know something. I just saw, I'm going to see my child again. I just saw my grandmother. I just saw my baby living there. I didn't know what the story of the baby was. Are you showing me the baby if it was healthy? I always had that question. And then a year to the day, I was due with a son who's perfectly healthy. So she was showing me that I had a perfectly healthy baby boy coming. And he's the most spoiled child on the planet. He's 16 now. And he's a very angelic soul, very angelic. So I would rather say that we don't have to wait till the end to arrive where we started. But with our highest consciousness with God, with Spirit, living from this knowing that I think everything I'm doing is all at me, is actually, I know that something else is doing it through me. Something else is doing this through us. And the sooner that we're able to get out of our own way, that current, that loving current that moves in and through your being, when you finally realize, I'm trying to work my bank account out, I'm trying to work out this job situation I'm barely hanging on to, I'm moving up against all these things that I can't live without. I hate them, but I can't live without them. And you don't realize that all you have to do is just stop fighting for things that are supposed to fall away. And have faith that whatever falls away in this divine nature that guides our lives, it will move you. Not only fill those areas that are going to fall away, but bless you tenfold. Because your faith in this greater something. That's why people have this spiritual path. They don't do it to say that they're spiritual or they're just to be nicer. It's to have a beautiful life. It's to actually enjoy the beauty of this life. And that doesn't mean that bad things aren't going to still happen to us. But you learn that there's always a resolve and there's always a growth, because we're here to grow the soul and do a great work here. In the book Things Remembered, written by Lowell Fillmore, the son of our co-founders Charles and Myrtle, he writes it this way: remember that you live in two worlds, the world of God made and the world you are making. God made his perfect world by his word, and you are making your world by your words, which are sometimes spoken and sometimes unspoken. As your world grows more like God's world, you reap an increasing measure of the blessings that your father, mother has prepared for you from the beginning. In Romans 12:2, it says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. Do not conform to the pattern of this world. Do not. Look at the pattern of this world. Do not conform to it. This is the time to find the eye of the storm. Step out of the eye of the world and get away from the friends that want to remind you of what they just saw on the news or what they just read in the newspaper. Or what. Get the people around you that want to speak to the healing of the consciousness of humanity, that wants to take care of all the people that reside on this planet in abundance, in health, in everything that we need, because there's plenty. This is an abundant universe that can take care of each and every one of us if the greed disappears. So quit looking at the world that's in the turbulence and the wars that are about to start, or if they are, or if they're not. Yikes! What are you doing to bring a change to the direction of the consciousness of where it's going. We can point at all the people that are the heads and all the things that are creating this, but first you have to take to task your own consciousness. What am I bringing to every aspect of my life? To my children, to my spouse, to my boss, to my employees. Because there's this book of remembrance where it's all been documented. All that we ever did in other lifetimes and every deed that you're doing now. This is an Edgar Cayce reading, number 1650-1. Upon time and space is written the thoughts, the deeds, the activities of an entity. Oh, is this the slide? Oh, it is. I have a new assistant, everybody, and he's up there. Do you want to say hello to Steve Hayes? He's helping us with these, and he typed these this week, which is very nice. Super stoked. All right. Upon time and space is written the thoughts, the deeds, the activities of an entity, as in relationships to its environments. Its hereditary influence as directed or judgment drawn by or according to what the entity's ideal is. Hence, as it has been often called, the record is God's book. Book of remembrance. And each entity, each soul, as the activities of a single day of an entity in the material world, either makes same good or bad or indifferent, depending upon the entity's application of self towards that which is the ideal manner for the use of time. Opportunity and the expression of that for which each soul enters a material manifestation. The interpretation then, as drawn here, is with the desire and hope that in opening this for the entity, the experience may be one of helpfulness and hopefulness. So the book, it's referred to as the Book of Life, the Book of Remembrance, or it's referred to as the Akashic Records. And Edgar Cayce had the ability to go into a sleep state with any person on the planet. He could do it virtually over a phone call, and he'd be in a sleep state and still be able to figure out what was going on in their life and what was blocking them from moving forward with a particular area. Maybe in a loving relationship, in a health crisis, in a job situation. He could literally pinpoint what this entity was doing wrong in this lifetime to move forward, or could look back in past life memories. He doesn't really say it's so much karma that's coming here to get you again this lifetime, but it's actually the subconscious memories of doing not great things that were playing out here in other relationships until we become aware that we can stop the pattern of what our soul has done before. This is where the growing happens. This is why we do have difficult things come in our life to help us heal the patterns of what's living in the subconscious. So, and Edgar Cayce obviously was the most documented psychic of all time and proven to be able to do this. But the Akashic Records, or the Book of Life, is available to all of us because it's a tuning into the highest consciousness that stores that which we need as far as reaching out to get the answers to what we need to do to further in our careers, to further in our parenting, to further to be a conduit or way shower of Christ's light, or whatever we're feeling. Because we can feel when there's a call. It's an anchoring. It's a knocking on the door. It's in our being. And then we meditate on it and say, Spirit, I feel it. I'm answering the call. Show me the way. Move through me, guide through me. And those Akashic Records will move in through your life and untangle webs that you've gotten yourself in and you don't know how to get out of them. But that takes faith. That what I'm saying here is true. That takes faith. That Jesus was an example of what we're all capable of being, and that lives within us. We are the Christ potential. We can heal ourselves and other. We can speak words of prayers that people think they're going to believe in this planet in one day, and they can be brought back full of life and vigor. because of our focus on the healing ability in the entity in every person that lives. That belief, that power, that vibration that we bring, we can be giants for this world. We can blow our own minds of what we can create. Are you ready to do that? Yeah. Cool, man. So I'm going to give you a few ideas of things to look out for. So we start getting that whisper. You might get to hear the voice of God or hear those harmonics that happen when you know you're in an ethereal dream and all of a sudden you hear the song. There's a certain sound, and once you've heard it, you'll never unhear it. Have you ever had a situation where you've sat up in your bed and saw yourself still sleeping in your bed? So those of you that haven't, put that out there. Say, I'd like to see that. Because then you realize you are not your body. That's all it takes. Boom. I am not my body. Cool. So that also means energetically I can change things, because in my dreams, in my sleep state, or in my bed, I can send my energies out. I can say sorry to people that I need to say sorry to. I can forgive people I need to say. And I don't need to do it face to face. I can just start pre-working the work to bring the healing for all these areas so my life can actually live in peace and joy, so that I'm open and free to keep being a vehicle of Spirit's love for this world. Have you ever had a dream that predicted something that happened the next day? Okay, so now for the rest of you, so about 5 that time, the last one we had about 3, you can put it out there to have a dream, and something positive will happen the next day. Let's clarify that. When I'm open to having a dream that predicts something awesome that's going to happen the next day. Have you ever had your ear just ring really loud and then stop? Okay, well that's a really good one, because always look at what's happening in that moment when that ear does that. It's usually pretty easy to clarify what Spirit's trying to say to you. People will say, oh, well, that just happens as you get older. Your ears start to have da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I say, no, because I live from a place where I trust that all of it is from the universe. You ask yourself when you have that ring, what did I just do? What am I currently thinking? What is it that I need to take note of here? Okay, have you ever almost been in an accident where everything goes in slow motion, giving you time to correct the wreck before it happens? I cannot believe there's only like 5 people that have not, you haven't had that slow motion moment where you actually like correct a situation before it could have been horrible. Okay. All right, we have to open up here, people. My God. This is the coolest stuff. This is the magic of Spirit. This is what it's all about. This is what we're here. It's just amazing when you get it and you live from it. You're a part of this miracle existence. Everything can shift in this moment. You don't have to keep dealing with hard people, hard conditions, hard situations, no money, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Because you're going to step out. Look at your life from a bigger picture and let God take over. Let Spirit take over. So there's no coincidences that we're all here at this time. This is another thing that Edgar Cayce talks about. Many of us traveled at the same time. Many of us traveled here knowing we'd be here during one of the biggest turmoils and changes for our planet and the world. We also probably signed up to bring children in this world and also have to guide them, coming into a world of unknowns. but we're all in it together. You know when you've met a person, all right, this is a good one. When you've met a person at a grocery store or something or at a party and you sit down and you're talking with them and you're sitting there going, why do I know you? Why do I know you? And you know, like they say things, it's the way they say it, it's the articulation, but you've never met them before. Okay, come on, everyone. Better. Okay, so you guys have homework. Look for the signs and symbols from birds, from sleep, from dreams. Just even think of an animal right now. Just think of an animal right now in your mind's eye. And count how many times that animal comes in word, vision, pictures, and actual physicality this week. Count it. Just pick one. Just pick one. And watch how that law of attraction of you putting it out there, how honorable this universe wants to show you. Yes, 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 good, you're looking. You're looking. You are ready for me to move in and through your life because you want to test it. Cool, I'll be part of your test. Yay, good and faithful servant that wants to be here and be a participant of being a way shower of God's love for this world. Thank you. So I'm running a little over. Do you guys want to go to meditation or? Yeah? And if you don't, you guys can walk out. I won't, I'll just cry a little bit. All right, so let's just take, whatever you got from this service today. I'm sure there's many different facets and pieces, and one thing might have stuck out, or 10 things might have stuck out. Whatever you need to know is that this is on our website, the service right after, if you want to go and revisit it to be reminded. But most importantly, your soul connected with the message today. And when you walk out of here, I just hope that you stand a little taller, remembering who you are, and then mirroring that to every person that you come in contact with, of who they truly are and where home exists. You all have access to an innate calling within yourself as a way shower for creating heaven on earth. And you are an emissary of the Creator for bringing a message of the greatest love and hope that this planet has ever heard. Let's just take a few deep breaths for that. All of creation is watching us as the ones who have chosen to be here at this time to birth a glorious golden future from our own contributions from the divine. The first task is discovering the power in your own unique journey. And when you find it, you live completely from that. The second task is to become aware that you are so loved and supported by the very highest energies and frequencies of the universe at this time. Every morning, if you pray and meditate on opening up to your highest frequencies, and then face the world from that energy, and let go of expectations of the day, and let Spirit take over. You are a child of the divine. You are one with the universe and all its glory. You can be healed. You can find love. You will be peace and joy. Just move into the heart. Listen to the heart. Express from the heart. And all will come for full circle from that expression. Live in love with all of it. Live in peace and joy, and know that that is the true nature of Spirit. And that is the calming quiet that's being called for us to exude vibrationally. You will be guided, directed, divinely loved, and protected as you step out of the turbulence of the world and move into the heart of God as expression. And so we give thanks for this in the name and the power of the living Christ Buddha nature within every one of us. Thank you, God, for everything. We have no complaints whatsoever. Amen.
Take an offering for unity now. And the great thing about these teachings is that they are fairly easy to remember, but to put them into practice takes some kind of effort. You've got to be devoted to meditation and carrying the affirmative ideas with you. And that's what makes your life work. It just can't be listening to it and then going about the same thinking process that we came in with or live in the world with. But we raise it up a little bit, bring our minds back to these thoughts of truth and healing and love. So we've been really blessed this morning to have all that happen for us. Now we have an opportunity to give back. So as we bring our offerings into our hands, and I'm speaking to you that's watching this on video, live stream, you can tithe to Unity in these ways or scroll down to the area on our website that says donate. So bring that financial gift to mind that you'd like to make to Unity of Boulder. And let's bless it with this offering prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. So it is.
Hello. I'm going to do this one solo. It's a request by my beautiful wife, Tammy, and who am I to say no? It's one that I wrote with a good friend of mine, Rick Ryan, and it's called One Kind Word. This is for the weak and weary who keep pleading for a voice. This is for the down and desperate who are told they have no choice. This is for the lost and lonesome, needing love down to the bone. This is for the wounded warriors who had their dreams turned to stone. Love can be a lifeline when there ain't no hope inside. Love can be a beacon shining through the darkest night. One small act of mercy drops us to our knees to pray, helps us to keep moving, to go on just another day. Who knows? Saving someone's life might be one kind word away. One kind word away. This is for the sick and dying, whose only enemy is time. This is for those in prison, for the color, not their crime. This is for the hurt and homeless who watch the system break their pride. This is for all the dreamers who have no dreams left inside. When it all burns down to ashes in the wind, that's where it all begins. Your phoenix will rise again. 'Cause love can be a lifeline. Love can be a beacon. Love can be a lifeline when there ain't no hope inside. Love can be a beacon shining through the darkest night. One small act of mercy drops us to our knees to pray, helps us to keep moving, go on just another day. Who knows? Saving someone's life could be one kind word away. Who knows? Saving someone's life could be one kind word away, away, away. One kind word away, away. Thank you very much.
That song is amazing. It's amazing. Like total channeled work there, for sure. I'm sure you felt the buzz and the hum of spirit when you wrote that one. Yeah. There's just no way. That is just too good. Too good. And thank you, Marcy, and the band as well for the amazing music today.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in that healing workshop, you can register for that in the bookstore right after the service. And we also have the men's and women's book groups starting in just a couple weeks. And I wanted to ask, Steve, do we have Let There Be Peace on Earth on the slides up there? Yes. Okay, we're going to close with the Let There Be Peace on Earth. I think our world is asking us to sing that song today instead of I Release. So let's all stand up. In the old days, we used to all hold hands. We can energetically hold hands and become a part of that vibration that wants to see the healing in this world. I'll hold my dad's hand. I think we're safe. Okay, here we go. Yeah, come sing this.
Let there be peace on earth and life.
my joyous love, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Beautiful. Have an incredible week.
All right.
Let's go to I release. I release and I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Nice. We got it like our own little choir out here. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Beautiful singing. If you have a prayer need today, you can stay seated in your seat, and we have prayer partners that will come and find you and take you to our beautiful meditation room and pray with you. Blessings.
So beautiful. That was so moving.
Oh,
Just every time.
oh,
Every time.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. God. I don't have the words. I'm just like,
I went to this week, I'll tell you that. I had a hate this week that was so powerful and palpable. It was like, just crying the whole time, just felt spirit so around me in the most beautiful way, but like it was deep sadness too, and just all of it. Like the veil was just wide open, and I loved that. And like music comes through the system, it's a balance. Yeah. And I needed it. I needed the visitation of that. Yeah. Oh. I know this prayer, yeah.
I've never spoken to you before, but I just belong here. I just wanted to thank you for your sharing today.
Oh, you're welcome. What's your name?
John.
John.
Slater.
I've met you before, though, right?
No.
I haven't?
No, I've never spoken to you
Oh,
before.
you look so familiar to me.
I went to high school with everybody.
Oh.
I have that face. I went
That's
to
a
high
funny way
school
to
that
put
was
that.
someone that looks just like you.
It's so funny, okay. I totally get it. Well, it's nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm glad you came up and said hello.